In an era where digital reigns supreme, the resurgence of analog technology seems almost paradoxical. Who would have predicted that vinyl records, film cameras, and typewriters would not only survive the digital revolution but start gaining popularity once more? Yet that's exactly what's happening. Across the globe, people are turning back to tangible, tactile tech, reviving formats and devices thought to be obsolete. But this isn't just a trend driven by nostalgia. There are deeper cultural and psychological reasons behind this analog revival. The shift isn't limited to a niche group of hobbyists. Major retailers are now stocking record players again. New companies are building film cameras, and cassette tapes are being released alongside digital albums. Even typewriter sales have seen a noticeable bump in the past few years. These aren't remnants of the past collecting dust. They're becoming central to the way many people express themselves and experience media. The analog comeback has sparked curiosity and captured the attention of both young digital natives and older generations who never let go. So, what exactly is fueling this analog renaissance in a world dominated by streaming, AI, and cloud computing? The answer lies at the intersection of emotion, culture, and a desire for authenticity. This video dives deep into 10 fascinating cases where analog technology is not only surviving, but thriving. From music and photography to communication and gaming, you'll be surprised by how these once-forgotten tools are reshaping our modern world. Vinyl records, back from the dead. Vinyl records are perhaps the most iconic example of analog's resurgence. Once deemed obsolete in the face of CDs and then streaming, vinyl has made a roaring comeback. According to the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA, vinyl record sales in the US have been rising steadily for over a decade and even surpassed CD sales in 2020 for the first time since the 1980s. This isn't just a blip. It's a full-fledged revival backed by real consumer demand. Younger generations are embracing vinyl for its warm sound and tangible experience. There's something deeply satisfying about holding a 12-inch record, carefully placing the needle, and hearing the subtle pops and hisses that come with analog sound. This process, far from being inconvenient, is now seen as an immersive ritual, something that digital just can't replicate. Many describe it as more real, more intentional, and more connected. Record stores, which were once closing at alarming rates, are now reopening in cities across the globe. Independent artists are also getting in on the trend, releasing limited edition vinyl alongside digital downloads to appeal to collectors and audiophiles. Even large chains like Walmart and Target have entire sections dedicated to vinyl, and major labels are pressing new records to meet the demand. This isn't retro for retro's sake, it's a market reborn. What drives this resurgence isn't just nostalgia. It's about reclaiming a sense of ownership and connection to music in a world where songs are streamed, skipped, and forgotten in seconds. Vinyl makes people slow down, listen closely, and appreciate the craft of an album in its entirety. The analog experience creates a moment of presence, something increasingly rare in our fast-scrolling culture. Film photography. Shooting the old-fashioned way. Despite smartphones putting powerful cameras in everyone's pocket, film photography is experiencing a major revival. Companies like Kodak and Fujifilm have restarted production of once discontinued film stocks, and new generations of photographers are picking up analog cameras not just as a novelty, but as a preferred medium. The tactile nature of film, the process of loading it, shooting carefully, and waiting for development, creates a sense of anticipation that digital simply can't replicate. This resurgence is particularly strong among Gen Z and millennials who grew up entirely in the digital world. For them, film is new, exciting, and unpredictable. Social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok are filled with creators showing off vintage cameras, sharing their photo rolls, and celebrating imperfections like light leaks and grain. These flaws are no longer seen as defects but as part of the charm and authenticity that film provides. The shift has also revitalized local photo labs, some of which had nearly vanished. Now, they're seeing lines of customers dropping off 35mm and 120 film, with new apps helping people scan and archive their negatives. Even celebrities and influencers are embracing film photography for its aesthetic and emotional depth. Photographers are talking about how film makes them slow down and think more intentionally about composition and subject matter. The analog appeal here is not just about quality, it's about the experience. In a digital world obsessed with perfection, film offers imperfection, mystery, and a hands-on relationship with the image-making process. The physicality of a developed photo, the manual winding of a camera lever, and the surprise of seeing a shot weeks later, all contribute to film photography's enduring and growing allure. Typewriters, typing with purpose in a world overrun by word processors, predictive text, and AI writing tools, the typewriter might seem like a relic. But a surprising number of writers, students, and artists are returning to typewriters for one key reason: focus. Unlike computers, typewriters have no internet, no pop-ups, no distractions. They offer a direct, mechanical, and mindful way to get words on a page. The renewed interest in typewriters has led to repair shops reopening and sales rising, especially for portable models from the mid-20th century. Enthusiasts restore vintage machines, host type-ins, and swap stories about their favorite models. Tom Hanks even published a book of short stories inspired by his love for typewriters, and there's a growing subculture of writers who swear by the clackety keys to unlock creativity. There's also a psychological benefit to typing on a machine that requires effort. You can't hit delete on a typewriter. Every keystroke matters, and mistakes become part of the document. This forces writers to think more deliberately and discourages endless editing. It's writing with intention, and that's deeply appealing in an era of autocorrect and backspacing. Beyond writing, typewriters have even found a place in visual art and design. Artists use them to create intricate typed illustrations, while others repurpose their keys for jewelry and crafts. The typewriter, once declared obsolete, has returned as a symbol of analog elegance, persistence, and craftsmanship. Cassette tapes, the comeback of magnetic sound cassette tapes, once dismissed as outdated and fragile, are making an unlikely return. Artists like Billie Eilish and The Weeknd have released albums on cassette, and labels are investing once again in tape production. Between 2015 and 2022, cassette sales in the US rose by over 440%, according to Nielsen Music. These tiny rectangles of magnetic audio are back, and with surprising popularity. Much like vinyl, cassettes offer a physical connection to music. They invite listeners to commit to an album, side A to side B, without skipping around. The tactile process of inserting a tape, hitting play, and flipping it over is seen as charming and even rebellious in the age of infinite streaming. For many, it's about stepping away from convenience and into intention. The lo-fi sound quality of cassettes is now embraced as part of their identity. Fans celebrate the hiss, warble, and analog warmth that make tapes feel personal and nostalgic. Independent artists use them for limited releases, zine-style mixtapes, and merchandise bundles. The medium has become a form of artistic expression rather than a mere listening format. Tape decks are being rediscovered and refurbished, and new portable players are entering the market. From small bedroom studios to major indie labels, cassettes are a statement, a rejection of the disposable and a nod to the tangible. They're not just a throwback, they're a movement of analog appreciation. Polaroid cameras, instant gratification, analog-style instant photography, once synonymous with Polaroid, nearly disappeared in the early 2000s. But thanks to companies like Polaroid Originals and Fujifilm Instax, it has made a dramatic comeback. These cameras offer the magic of snapping a picture and holding the result within minutes, without any digital middleman. It's a tactile, social, and fun experience that's thriving once again. What's particularly striking is how young people, many of whom grew up never seeing a physical photo, are now obsessed with instant prints. The popularity of Instax cameras in particular has exploded, with colorful models and themed photo paper turning photography into a real-world craft. The tangible nature of instant prints makes them perfect for scrapbooking, decorating, or gifting. This revival isn't just personal, it's cultural. Events, weddings, and even corporate gatherings are bringing in Polaroid booths to capture moments with analog charm. The act of shaking a print and watching it slowly reveal itself creates a shared moment of excitement that no phone screen can match. There's magic in the wait. Polaroid's return also speaks to a deeper desire to escape the hyper-digital cycle of taking a photo, editing it endlessly, and chasing likes. Instant cameras bypass all of that. They remind people that a moment captured can be perfectly imperfect, and still meaningful. Landline phones, the unexpected stability. It might surprise some, but landline phones are quietly holding their ground, particularly in rural areas, among the elderly, and in emergency preparedness kits. While mobile phones have taken over our daily lives, landlines continue to offer advantages like call clarity, signal stability, and independence from cell towers. In fact, some households keep them precisely because they work when the power or cellular network goes down. There's also a psychological shift taking place. Some people are choosing to unplug from their smartphones entirely, embracing the simplicity of a home phone. The ringing of a landline feels different, it's less constant, more purposeful. You don't carry it in your pocket. It doesn't ping with notifications. It rings, and it waits. Nostalgia also plays a role. Retro-style rotary phones and push-button handsets are being reintroduced by companies looking to blend modern tech with vintage aesthetics. These devices are now being sold with Bluetooth compatibility, allowing users to take cell calls with a retro twist. It's a fusion of function and flair. The landline's survival shows that even in the most rapidly changing tech spaces, there's room for simplicity. For some, it's not about keeping up, it's about slowing down, choosing when to be available, and enjoying a quieter form of connection. Analog watches, more than just timekeeping. Smartwatches may dominate the market, but analog wristwatches have never fully gone out of style, and now they're thriving. Luxury watch sales are growing, with brands like Rolex, Omega, and Seiko seeing increased demand among both older collectors and younger enthusiasts. The reason? Watches are more than tools, they're statements of identity, craftsmanship, and legacy. Unlike smartphones, a mechanical watch doesn't need charging. It doesn't distract with notifications. It quietly ticks, powered by springs and gears that reflect a centuries-old tradition of engineering excellence. For many wearers, that mechanical precision feels more human, more grounded, than anything digital can offer. Social media has fueled a new wave of appreciation for timepieces, with communities like #WatchFam sharing daily wrist shots and restoration stories. Vintage models have surged in value, and new micro-brands are reviving classic designs with updated materials. Owning a watch now often means joining a tribe, connecting over details like dial textures, movements, and bezel types. This renewed interest reflects a broader desire for permanence in a disposable world. Watches are designed to last generations, to be handed down as heirlooms. In a culture of rapid upgrades and short attention spans, the analog watch represents stability, patience, and enduring style. Analog synthesizers, the sound of the past, future, and now in music production, digital plugins dominate. Yet analog synthesizers, from Moog to Roland, are experiencing a resurgence among artists who crave raw, unpredictable sound. These instruments, with their knobs, cables, and oscillators, are prized for their depth and character. Unlike digital synths, which offer precision, analog ones offer feel. Contemporary artists like Tame Impala, Tyler, The Creator, and Daft Punk, prior to disbanding, have openly embraced analog synths in their production. Even in an era of digital audio workstations, the unique, warm textures of analog sounds are irreplaceable. Studios now routinely mix digital and analog gear for the best of both worlds. There's a sense of exploration in using analog synthesizers. Turning knobs and shaping tones in real time feels like sculpting sound with your hands. Many describe the experience as alive, because analog circuits respond subtly to touch, temperature, and even voltage inconsistencies, creating one-of-a-kind sonic results. As software becomes more automated, analog synths stand as tools of expression that demand patience and skill. They're unpredictable by nature, and that's what makes them so desirable. They offer musicians a playground not just to make music, but to discover it. Board games, analog entertainment in a digital age. Board games have exploded in popularity over the last decade, defying predictions that digital gaming would render them obsolete. From complex strategy games like Gloomhaven and wingspan, to cooperative experiences like pandemic, tabletop gaming is enjoying what many call a golden age. In 2023, the global board game market was valued at over $13 billion, and it's still growing. Why? One reason is human connection. Board games require people to sit together, talk, and engage face-to-face. They create a form of social interaction that online games can't replicate. Whether it's family game night or a dedicated board game cafe, these analog experiences foster real bonds. There's also the appeal of physicality, holding cards, moving pieces, rolling dice. These tactile interactions stimulate a different part of the brain than screens do. For many, it's a welcome break from the constant scroll and swipe of daily life. Plus, beautifully illustrated game boards and handcrafted pieces offer a kind of artistic satisfaction. Crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter have made it easier than ever for indie creators to produce innovative games. This democratization has brought an explosion of creativity into the scene. Analog play isn't going away, it's evolving, thriving, and redefining what meaningful entertainment can be. Paper journals and notebooks. Writing that lasts in a digital age dominated by cloud docs and apps, the humble notebook remains an enduring companion. Brands like Moleskine and Leuchtturm 1917 are thriving, with bullet journaling and planner culture fueling a massive analog renaissance. People are rediscovering the benefits of writing by hand, not just for nostalgia, but for focus, memory, and mindfulness. Studies show that handwriting helps improve retention and cognitive engagement. Writing in a journal, sketching ideas, or simply planning a week manually creates a different, more personal relationship with information. Unlike apps that delete or sync without notice, a notebook is private, persistent, and tactile. There's also a creative liberation that comes with blank pages. You're not limited by software structure or formatting tools. You can doodle, cross out, tape things in, or make messy mind maps. The freedom is total, and that invites innovation. Many creatives, from authors to entrepreneurs, rely on analog tools to think clearly and track inspiration. The analog notebook has become a counterbalance to digital overload. It's about slowing down, being intentional, and creating something physical. In a world of ephemeral content and screen fatigue, putting pen to paper remains a revolutionary act. The resurgence of analog technologies isn't a rejection of progress, it's a recalibration. People aren't giving up their smartphones or laptops, but they are seeking out balance. Analog tools offer something digital often can't: presence, permanence, and authenticity. Whether it's the ritual of playing a vinyl record or the patience of handwriting a journal, these experiences root us in the moment and in ourselves. This analog revival cuts across generations, professions, and cultures. It's not just about looking back, it's about finding new meaning in old tools. As our digital lives accelerate, analog serves as a reminder to slow down and appreciate the physical, imperfect, and real. It's an emotional and philosophical shift as much as a technological one. So the next time you see a typewriter at a thrift store or hear the soft click of a film camera shutter, remember, these aren't just artifacts. They're tools of connection, creativity, and consciousness. The analog future is here, and it's wonderfully, unexpectedly alive.